Hey guys, my name is Devin Haskins, and you're listening to the RVA Running Man podcast. Thank you for listening to my show. If you're new here and you kind of stumbled upon my site, welcome. My show is the topic is recreational running and fitness. It's one of my passions. Been one of my passions since I was a little kid. But today's show is going to be something different. I wanted to discuss one of my second passion. My second passion is movies. I love movies, so I wanted to share with you my top 10 list of best runners in cinematic history. I do have only really one rule with my list, is it does not include any characters with any type of superpowers. I will be going over some plot details, so I'm not going through the whole movie. So with that in mind, spoiler warning for anyone that haven't seen any of these movies. So with that said, here's my list. Starting it off, number 10, Remember the Titans, Gettysburg. This was a really good movie. It had a lot of great messages about acceptance of those who are different from you, which this particular scene that we're concentrating on, Gettysburg, is where the football team, they were trying to come together as a team. They really had a lot of differences amongst themselves that they were trying to work through. So in this scene, the coach is taking them on a run, a cross-country run, down a dark trail through the woods. They didn't really realize their end point until they got there. The coach revealed it was Gettysburg and gave them an inspiring speech about coming together. And I will spare you the details so you can experience it on your own. It's a really powerful message. But there was still some good running. But this was added to the list mainly because of the message that it sent. So this is kind of an exception to the rule, but still check that out. Remember the Titans, Gettysburg scene. Number 9 is the Warriors. The scene is the Warriors and the baseball Fury sprint through Riverside Park. After being framed for shooting the Riff's gang leader, Cyrus, on a dangerous journey back to their home turf of Coney Island, 4 members of the Warriors find themselves being chased by the Baseball Furies gang. The Baseball Furies, to their credit, they're running with bats in their hands. So check that scene out. There's some good running going on there. Number 8, Men in Black 1, Agent J chases down a cephalopod. We're first introduced to Officer James Edwards III, which is played by Will Smith, during a foot pursuit of a guy that clearly has special abilities. What's most impressive about this chase is that Agent J is able to chase down the cephalopod in big baggy 90s styles clothes with basketball shoes. If you're able to chase down anyone in baggy 90s clothes, you're good. All right, for number 7, I kind of cheated a little bit. It's Rocky's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rocky trains to fight Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, and Ivan Drago. Okay, I can give a dissertation on how bad Rocky's running form was. But what made me pick Rocky for this list is A, he had a natural progression of the way he improved over the first 3 films, and B, the unorthodox, insane training method that Rocky did throughout the series. I mean, we started off in part 1, the montage scene with Rocky running on train tracks using 2 bricks as hand weights. And what makes that scene even more crazy, it looks like he had on a cotton jumpsuit with some Chuck Taylors, which are not the best running shoes. I mean, again, he did naturally progress and got better as he went along. Now, I do have a debate about Rocky 3, the beach running scene where he ran against Apollo Creed. It looks like Apollo Creed should have beat him. I think Apollo Creed pulled up, but I digress. But by the time we get to Rocky 4, Rocky is running up a face of a mountain. A face of a mountain. That's insane. Rocky was legit. Number 6, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Race Home. All right, in the final sequence of the movie, Ferris, who's supposed to be in bed sick at home, finds himself in a race to get home before his sister and his mother does. Ferris' sister, who's intent on showing his mom that Ferris is lying about his illness, has an advantage as she's driving and her brother is on foot. To get home, Ferris tears through the neighborhood, cutting through houses and jumping on random trampolines, basically parkouring before parkouring was a thing. What was more impressive is he's rocking a leather jacket, vest, and some slacks throughout the whole ordeal. So he did not have running gear on at all, but he did his thing. Speaking of parkour, we're going to go to number 5, which is James Bond Casino Royale parkour chase scene. The Daniel Craig James Bond era started off with one of the most athletic chase scenes in a series that I've seen. In the first act of the movie, Bond attempts to catch a bomb maker named Molotov, which is played by French freerunner Sebastian Foucan. Foucan is known as one of the first creators of parkour, and as expected, this chase features stunts that will make your knees tremble. All right, coming in at number 4, Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol, Sandstorm Chase Scene. Honestly, I could have picked several of Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible movies for this spot. Tom Cruise is known for doing crazy, wild stunts for these movies, and at his age is remarkable. Like James Bond, Ethan Hunt, which is played by Tom Cruise, manages to keep himself in remarkable shape. And the fact that he's able to almost chase down his baddie in a sandstorm is proof of that. Ethan is 47 in Mission Impossible 4, but the sprint he shows us in this scene looks like he's decades younger. Coming in at number 3 is Run, Lola, Run. The IMDb blurb for this movie is, after a botched money delivery, Lola has 20 minutes to come up with 100 Deutschmarks. The money is needed to save the life of her love interest, who owes it to some bad dudes. First saw this film years ago, I think when it first came out around the late 90s, 98. And it was remarkable. Even though it was all in a foreign language I didn't understand, I watched the whole thing in captions, and it was remarkable. The theme of this movie shows us how the choices that Lola makes within that 20-minute time frame affects the people that are around her, and we're taken through several iterations of different scenarios that she made different choices within the movie. I know that sounds confusing, but you have to check the movie out to see what I mean. But throughout these 20-minute intervals, she's running the whole way in some Dr. Martin boots, which is, if you don't know what those are, look them up online. They're boots with really high heels, and she's all out. In an interview with The Guardian, the actress that plays Lola, her name is Franca, shares that she had no former running training at all. She just ran, and she says she smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and didn't have any training, and they just she was able to do it because she felt like she was young, but she wouldn't do it again. So the amount of running that she did throughout these intervals of iterations of the movie is one of the big reasons why I included her on my list. Number 2, Forrest Gump Runs Across the Country. I could not do a list of top 10 runners in cinematic history without including Forrest Gump. And Forrest was hardly an inexperienced runner when he decided to run across the United States at this point of the movie. By the time we get to the scene in the movie, Forrest was already an All-American football player, ping pong champion, and a war veteran, a war hero, actually. And not to count all the running that he did growing up, from being bullied from bullies. And of course, we heard that iconic Run Forrest Run that I'm pretty sure everyone that lived in the mid-90s heard someone scream at some point. In the movie, we're told that Forrest ran for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, 16 hours, and that roughly adds up to be a little under 27,000 hours of running. So run, Forrest, run, indeed. Without further ado, number 1, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, The Three Hunters. Second part of The Lord of the Rings, we find Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas in fast pursuit of the Uruk-hai that just took Merry and Pippin, which were their hobbit companions and part of the Fellowship of the Ring. The book shows us that the journey took the three hunters 72 hours, and they covered a distance of 45 leagues, which works out to be about 135 miles in Tolkien's world. What makes what Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas so impressive is the speed in which they cover the distance on the mountainous terrain while carrying weapons and being heavily dressed in armor. So they were booking it with all of the stuff that they were carrying, and they eventually caught up to the slain Uruk-hai, but still, to cover that amount of distance in 72 hours is just crazy. All right, runners, that was my list. Don't agree with it. I would love to hear any suggestions that you may have that you feel like need to be added to the list. Please comment on YouTube in the section below, or you can hit me up on social media, any of the social media platforms at RVA Running Man. You want to listen to any of my past episodes or future episodes, you can subscribe on my YouTube page or any of my anywhere you get your podcast. You can search at RVA Running Man. But until next week, I hope everyone is safe on the roads and trails. I'll talk to you later. Peace.